Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to Drive Agility with CA Workload Automation AE Event Management and Automation, brought to you by CA Technologies. My name is Tiffany Jaffe. I am Senior Events and Campaigns Manager and will be your tour guide through this webinar. CA Technologies creates software that fuels transformation for companies and enables them to seize the opportunities of the application economy. And today we will introduce the new event management functionality available with CA Workload Automation AE. As a reminder, please feel free to submit questions at any time to the Q&A panel, which will be addressed during the Q&A session. And now I'd like to introduce you to our presenter, Kelvin Levels. Kelvin
Thank you, Tiffany.
Kelvin is Senior Principal Consultant Pre-Sales at CA Technologies. And now with that, I'd like to hand it over to you, Kelvin.
Thank you, Tiffany, and good day to everyone out there. As Tiffany said, my name is Kelvin Levels. I'm a Senior Principal Consultant here at CA Technologies, covering our automation solutions, which AutoSys falls under. And our topic, as we discussed already said, is our topic for today's session is to drive business agility with CA Workload Automation AE Event Management and Automation. We're going to talk about something that's new in the current 11.3.6 SP7 release of CA Workload Automation AE, better known to most of us as AutoSys, and that is the Event Engine. This Event Engine is a powerful, modern, scalable solution that's being provided to our AutoSys customers as a like-for-like replacement for the old NISM Event Management application. So today what we want to do is to provide some information to help you become more familiar with what it is, and also help you understand how it can help you drive business agility. So with that introduction, let's get started. Now our agenda for today is pretty straightforward. We'll start off with a discussion of the old NISM Event Management solution versus the new improved Event Engine that we now provide with the current release of AutoSys. Next, we'll dive a little deeper into this new Event Engine, and we'll talk about the additional value that it can potentially provide to our AutoSys customers. From there, we'll go into a little more detail around how AutoSys integrates with the Event Engine, highlight some potential use cases that this integration can address, and then from there, we'll finish off today's discussion with the information you'll want to know about what's included with the Event Engine, how do you get it, how do you get started using it. But before we start, I want to take a quick poll just for reference purposes, and I want to find out how many of you are using the old event management solution today. So I've got a poll question that you should see now. It's a yes or no question. Just want to know how many of you are using the old NISM event management solution today. So give us a yes or no on that. Okay. So let's talk about the old event management here. Actually, I went back and did some history and did a little research on it, and it's been around for a long time. The old NISM event management was introduced by CA back in the 80s, I believe, mid to late 80s. It was bundled with AutoSys R11, and so if you look at it over R11 up to even 11.3. Probably even up to SP6 even. If you look on the Common Components DVD and go through that install, there'll be an item on there doing the install for event management. That's what this is. And, we didn't have a lot of customers using it, but we do have some customers that were using it and are still using it today even. Again, it was bundled with AutoSys, and it's a free of charge component. And what it allows you to do is to process events. And it's its own event engine, sits on top of a database, and it's got its own rules kind of engine in it. But it can receive events from your enterprise, and events can be things like it's got its own command line interface, so you could have a script out there, a cron job or something that could run a command to send some messages over to the event console. You can AutoSys can be configured to forward its events, everything out of the event log over to that event engine. It can look at S&P traps. It can grab Windows event logs. It can grab things out of syslogs. A lot of the CA products back then had APIs and had built-in integrations where they would forward events over to it as well. And it has its own API functions as well. So, for what it was back in the 80s, it was a pretty pretty, fairly comprehensive solution in terms of enterprise management event correlation. There was a rules engine where I could create what was called a message record, which would say, okay, I'm going to watch, for example, a job failure that comes from AutoSys. And that would be a message record that I would define. And all these messages come in with standard format. You can variabilize the information that comes in, and that gets passed down the stream to the event manager. But I would say I'm going to grab an AutoSys job failure, create a message record to do that, and I'd create subsequent actions around that message. One of the things I used to show a lot of my demos when I show the event management was I would have a set of message records and actions set up that would, I'd grab the job failure, I'd grab, variables out of that job failure event, the job name, the owner, all the things I wanted to know about that job, what machine it ran on, job status, all those kinds of things, right? Then I would run a subsequent command. I would run an AutoSysLogD command, grab the standard error, stand it out, put it in a file. Then I'd run a BLAT or a sendmail command to send an email to a user and populate that user email with the information that came from the event, job name, all those kinds of things, and attach the spool file output as attachments, right? So that was something I would show. And that's what a lot of customers would do back in the day with AutoSys, in terms of event management. They would use it for external kind of actions based around AutoSys. But like I said, it captures events from a lot of different sources as well. I mean, I just recently ran across a customer who's still using it today, and they use the S&P traps that come from their hardware to detect, like, overheating kinds of situations, so they can, take actions on those. So it was a pretty powerful solution, okay? And for the most part, it worked pretty well. It still works pretty well, right? So why a new solution, right? Well, for starters, I think we'll all agree that today's technology landscape is a lot different than it was back in the 80s. It requires a modern approach, a more modern approach to integrating with all the technologies that are in our landscape today. And we have REST APIs, we have web services, we have application-specific APIs that all provide a more standard and efficient integration capability. And the ability of an enterprise management solution to provide out-of-box support for those technologies in a more intuitive, efficient, scalable manner is pretty much a requirement these days, right? So, what we're doing here is giving you an event engine that, again, is going to be a like-for-like replacement for the event engine, the old NISM event management solution, but it's going to give you a more modern architecture that allows you to integrate with some of the newer technologies that are out in your environments today. And I'm not just talking about, AutoSys and all the applications that are out there as well. I mean, there's private clouds, there's virtualization, there's SaaS applications, there's infrastructure as a service applications, that exist out in the cloud. There's platform as a service. There's everything that's happening in your DevOps space. These days it's all about digital transformation and application development, and being able to be agile is critical to business these days. So there's, DevOps tool chains, and there's a number of workflow processes that require automation in that space, and technologies that we have to integrate with. Jenkins, GitHub, Chef, Puppet, those kinds of things, right? There's the ERP, the traditional, automation things that you're going to do, integrating with SAP, Oracle E-Business, PeopleSoft, Informatica, those kinds of environments, as well as your platforms, virtualization, VMware, your Linux, your Windows, all those things as well, even the mainframe, right? So, I mean, you need the ability to kind of automate across that spectrum, and that's one of the things that the event engine is very, very good at. It just has a lot of integration points built in and a lot of capabilities that really lend itself to be able to do that and integrate into that environment and touch all those platforms, automate across that landscape in an efficient and scalable manner. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this new event engine. What is it? Okay. It comes to us from the Atomic acquisition, and you can basically think of it as the core component of the Atomic One Automation platform. It serves as the base orchestration engine for all the capabilities that AutoSys provides, or that Atomic provides, excuse me. Things like release automation, service orchestration. Those are all solution components of the Atomic One Automation platform. But that core component, that event engine, is what orchestrates and enables all of that. And so that's what this thing is. Okay. So after this acquisition, we've determined and decided that this is a very good like-for-like replacement for the event management solution that we provide today, or used to provide with AutoSys, because it really gives you the ability to do this, event rule-based kind of processing, just like the event management solution does, but in a much more modern fashion. It's a modern architecture and allows us to do some things in terms of integrations with pre-built integrations that allow it to do some very cool things. The AutoSys environment seamlessly has been architected in SP7 to seamlessly integrate into the event engine. Another term you'll hear is the AWI. Think of that as the WCC for the event engine. Right, it's the GUI that allows you to create your objects, create your events, your rules, your actions, to do all the automations you're going to do, to monitor and all those kinds of things as well. Within that event engine, there's a host of new objects that are available to you. We're going to give you an agent that allows you to run scripts, again, a like-for-like replacement. But as you look beyond what's provided in your free upgrade, there's all sorts of integrations, additional integrations that Atomic brings to bear that you can leverage, as you see value in them. From things from, event management, things where I can look for, all types of events that come into the system, where integrations, native integrations with, and certified integrations with Oracle E-Business, SAP System Copy functions. All sorts of things are part of this mix now that allow you to extend your automation. Okay, and this platform is just kind of a base component to get you started down that road. Instead of message records and actions, you're going to see rules and events. So an event's going to come in. That's going to be, you're going to watch for some type of an event, a job failure that comes in from AutoSys, for example. And then you're going to create a rule that's going to process that event and do whatever it is you want to do once that event is received. This event engine has its own REST API, and that can be used to ingest these events that come in. So, again, a much more modern architecture. So the AutoSys engine has been engineered to forward its events to that REST API, so they come into the Atomic Event Engine through a REST call. But you can write scripts that can make REST calls and insert events into that event engine as well, right? And as I said before, you can extend the use of that automation engine through some of the other content and job types and integrations that Atomic provides too as well. Okay. Talk about some sample automation use cases, right? And this is specific to this event engine, right? So this event engine opens the door to a lot more workflows and business processes that are along the lines of service orchestration, along the lines of being able to manage business processes closer to the business, right? So things like employee onboarding. I mean, I can create a workflow that will allow me to do an entire onboarding process. If a user wants to get onboarded into an application, I can design a workflow that can track the initial request, whether it be initiated through ServiceNow, can route it to approvers. Once those approvers are made, then the workflow can continue on and automatically make the changes to onboard that user, to check that the user has properly been provisioned, to set up anything on the back end that needs to be set up, to notify the user that their request has been fulfilled, to go back and close the ticket that was originally open. So I can build an end-to-end workflow inside the automation engine. Okay, I can do onboarding kinds of things. I can do closed loop remediation. So for example, you get an AutoSys job failure, right? And there's, some level 1 triage that you want to apply. Maybe I need to go, if I get a job failure, I need to go check the system port. I need to check the FTP host, or I need to run a command to check the database, or I need to back out some changes, or I need to do something like that, or I need to put that machine on a fine status, or I need to put jobs on hold so subsequent jobs don't run until we fix the condition, right? So I can create workflows that can automatically be triggered once that event happens to do those level 1 kinds of the triage, close remediation kinds of things, right? Right. There's other things. I mentioned SAP System Copy, right? There's integrations into SAP and solutions purpose-built for allowing you to do SAP System Copies. You could build a workflow for disaster recovery, for your environments. onboarding of other applications as well. So a lot of things become available to you from a workflow perspective, leveraging this engine. Okay. Here's another example. Okay. Say you have a standard ticketing system in your shop and a service catalog. In this case, ServiceNow. And that serves as the primary user entry point for incident management and your service requests, right? You've got a service catalog, service users can go in and request a service, provisioning, whatever it is, right? So, now what can happen is, let's move forward here. Okay. So I've got these real-time events that are flowing into ServiceNow and out of ServiceNow, right? A user can go in and make a request that can trigger an event back over in the automation engine, or an event can come into ServiceNow or into the automation engine like a job failure, and then we can write a rule that will create an incident in ServiceNow and enrich it with the data that came from that job failure, right? So it's kind of two-way communication that I can leverage, right? And the automation engine sits at the core of all of that. So it becomes the orchestration layer for the things that happen and the things that get triggered through my incident management and service request solution, portal, right? And because the event engine it's got all these integration points and all these API capabilities, it can talk to all the technologies that it needs to talk to in order to run the workflow that I want to run, to perform the action I want to perform, to handle that event. It's got the ability to variabilize all the data that comes in, pass those variables down the chain, react to them. So it's very, very robust in terms of being able to handle an end-to-end workflow that can come from an initial user request or an event in the environment. Okay. It's harvested with rules, so I'm going to create rules that are going to say, okay, when this event comes into the event engine, what do I want to do? I want to, maybe in the case of an AutoSys job failure, I want to open an incident in ServiceNow and enrich that ticket with all the information from the event. Maybe also I want to kick off a workflow that will, take the jobs that are also there, all the jobs that are on that machine, put them on hold, or take the machine on offline status, or run a level 1 triage to do some remediation. All those kinds of things can be happening, and I can determine what those rules are just by creating them within in the engine and letting that kind of drive that real-time activity. Okay. Right. And underneath the covers, you're going to see workflows that are going to be created within that engine. And those workflows are what are going to be orchestrated by the Atomic Event Engine. So these workflows can be, jobs and jobs with dependencies. They can be a single job. They can be notifications, and these jobs can be things like, with the Event Engine, we're giving you the like for like. We're giving you the ability to run scripts, basically, so command option scripts, but you can extend that out and leverage some of the other native object types and job types that the Atomic provides, FTP with checkpoint restarts, SAP kinds of activities, Oracle e-business kinds of activities, REST-based calls, calls out into the cloud, all kinds of things become available to you because of all these pre-built content that you can just drag and drop and create workflows around. Okay. This is automation that gets closer to the business. Okay. You've got a host of third-party fixtures, rules, pre-built content that we call action packs. And if you go out to the Atomic Marketplace, you go to marketplace.atomic.com, you can see that there's a library of objects that exist out there. Now these are additionally licensed for our AutoSys users. So today we're going to give you the ability to run basic scripts, and again, a like-for-like replacement for the Event Engine. But if you start to take a look at some of these action packs and built-in integrations and pre-built content and workflows that are out there in the marketplace, there's a lot of things that are going to make your life a lot easier in terms of, delivering services, in terms of being agile, in terms of scaling to meet your business demand, and getting closer to the business in terms of what you can do from an automation perspective. The add-ons, you can go out in the marketplace. They're published out there. You can see what's available. You can go do a search. There's even an AutoSys action pack that has pre-built content specific to AutoSys that allows you to cancel, restart a job, run a job in AutoSys, right? So you can actually have two-way communication from the event engine back into AutoSys as well. Yeah, and these things get extended over time. They're populated by the community, by other customers, by partners, by you. So, and those things are all available and leverageable to you as you move forward and down the road. Okay, and looking beyond, there's other use cases. I talked about incident management, right? Utilizing these action packs to minimize the scripting that you historically have to do, right? Because you've got pre-built content that allows you to drag and drop and build out a workflow to handle that incident. And then do close remediation to close the incident once it's been resolved. Lifecycle management. One of the interesting things and really good things I like about the Atomic Event Engine is that there's actually a service catalog built inside of it. So if you wanted to, you could create a catalog of requests specific to AutoSys. Maybe do some lifecycle management. I've got some Jill that I want to promote from my non-prod environment to the prod environment, right? I can create a workflow that I could use to route that to an approver, create the ticket, route it to an approver, automatically make the changes, check the changes, make sure that the changes were correct, you notify the users, close the ticket, all those kinds of things, right? So you can actually even do some lifecycle management and even provision that potentially as a self-service request for your users to actually take advantage of. We talked about customer onboarding. If I want to do onboarding of an employee to an application or to an environment, right? All those kinds of things. Disaster recovery. But workflows around setting up a workflow to do my DR scenario for my environments. So just things that become available within this automation engine that you can kind of extend out over time. And the benefit of this is that it allows automation policies to run when the business requires them. So I am running in an event-based paradigm. I am reacting to events as they happen. I am capturing events that come from AutoSys, from outside of AutoSys, from my applications, from my platforms, from whether they're on-premise or off-premise, and I can create rules that can react to those events when they occur, when the business needs them. Okay, I can apply automation in the end. So it's going to reduce the need for manual things like manual job submissions and other manual tasks that I'm faced with today. It's going to allow me to automate more of the business functions that are critical to my business because I'm closer to that business. I'm closer to what I'm using in my shop in terms of integrations that I can provide. And I can deliver these things faster to the business with a better quality of service, with more accuracy, with less manual intervention, and with less failures. Right? So there's a lot of benefits that come along with this too. Okay. Now this slide here is really a pictorial of the AutoSys integration specifically itself. What we've built in SP7 is to start off at the very left there. Within AutoSys, there's code that's been delivered in SP7 that will allow those REST calls to be made and insert those events into the Atomic Event Engine. And then the AutoSys configuration, in the AutoSys config file, you go in and configure and turn that on. So you say, yes, I want AutoSys to forward its events to one automation, so 1 or 0 flag for that parameter. And then I define the REST URL, which defines the REST URL for the event engine where those events are going to come into. And then once I've done that and I turn that on, then those events will flow into the event engine. Okay. And then from there, I will, on the event engine side, I will create rules that will process events. So I will, for example, one of the things I show in my demo is I have a rule sets up that will look at any event that comes in from AutoSys that is a job failure. So anytime a job failure comes in, I'm going to capture all the variables that came in from that job failure, job name, owner, job run ID, group, application, a lot of other things around that specific to that job. I'm going to capture those variables, and then I'm going to pass that information over to a workflow in the event engine that's going to run a job, a script action, that's going to run a curl command, that's going to insert that into ServiceNow and create an incident and enrich that incident with the information about that job failure, right? So all those actions are available to me today, to you today, with the SP7 upgrade, because we give you the ability for AutoSys to forward the events. We give you the ability to run a command job, a script job, and the ability to make that curl command, right? Okay. So the event engine can initiate that workflow, perform those actions, and you can actually monitor it in the event engine as well to see, make sure it did what you needed it to do. Okay, so what's included in your upgrade? So with SP7, we're going to give you one event engine. Again, this is a like-for-like replacement for the NISM event management solution. So we're going to give you an event engine, one event engine. We're going to give you one automation engine, so you can create the rules and all those kinds of things and process events and those things. And we're going to give you one technology node, and think of a technology node as an agent. Right? You got to put that agent somewhere where you're going to run these scripts to perform the actions that you want to perform. So this gives you the ability, again, a like-for-like replacement for the event management. You can run scripts that are defined in one service, and maybe you put it on the AutoSys instance or somewhere where you've got client utility, so you can run AutoSys commands if you want to do that, right? But this requires you to do all the integration work yourself, right? You're not going to be able to take advantage of action packs or any of the additional agent types or any other components and additional integrations that Atomic provides today. Right? It does give you some limited access to the marketplace and some pre-built integrations. Again, you have to take a look at those and see which ones you're able to use and which ones you aren't. And you do get some limited abilities to make web services and database calls, but again, you're going to have to script those, right? We do there are some very nice additional features and capabilities in the Atomic engine that you can additionally license. There's an agent that allows you to make REST calls. There's an agent that allows you to make database calls. There's all sorts of other things that you can add additionally. But, with what you're being provided today, you can script those actions and do basically what you've been doing today if you're using the old event management and write scripts and those kinds of things. Okay. So to get started, watch the support.ca.com site for upcoming information. Very shortly, we will provide information on how to gain access to the event engine, to gain access to your entitled download. It's not up there today, but if you do want to get that, just reach out to your salesperson, or even reach out to me, and we'll make sure that we get you access to that. But just keep an eye on the support.ca.com site for more information on how to formally get access to that, because that will be posted there in a relatively short time period. And there's also news on the product information page that will keep you up to date on what's happening in that regard as well. Okay. So that's what I have for today. And I guess I'll open it up to any questions at this time. So do we have any questions? No questions? No questions have been asked yet. Tiffany, do we have any questions that I haven't answered already, I guess? I know one question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say I know one question that I think I will probably get asked at some point is, where is the product documentation? So if you can go to, let's see here, if you go to docs.atomic.com/documentation, you'll be able to find the product documentation for Atomic and the event engine. If you look through the install sections, it will give you the system requirements for the event engine. So all that documentation is online and available to you. Go to docs.atomic.com. Okay. And that should be everything you need to kind of get up to speed and started with the documentation on the product. Do we have any other questions?
Kelvin, it looks like there was one that was asked, when you use the lingo Atomic rather than AutoSys, why is that?
So Atomic, so we acquired a company called Atomic a couple years ago now. And Atomic has a solution called the One Automation Platform. Okay, it's got several components to it, release automation, service orchestration, but at the center of it is this event engine. Okay, and that's what we're leveraging and providing to you as an AutoSys customer. So you'll see when we say Atomic, that is this product that we're providing. It comes from Atomic. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. So AutoSys is the product that you own today, AutoSys Workload Automation AE, but this event engine comes from our Atomic acquisition and it's still referred to as the Atomic Event Engine. And it's actually AuTomic. AuTomic. Okay. Any formal education or training? Sure. Atomic, again, we acquired Atomic a couple years ago. I mean, they have their own education, learning paths set up. As a matter of fact, if you come to CA World, you can get training on it. You can get certification on it. They offer that training at CA World, as well as they have their own training curriculums as well. That's all being rolled up into the CA proper education. But absolutely, they have plenty of education for you to get up to speed on the product. Okay. Any other questions?
Not at this time. With that, if you do have any further questions that were not covered today, please feel free to either reach out to Kelvin or you can click on the contact button on our website. And with that, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today for Drive Agility with CA Workload Automation, AE Event Management, and Automation.